Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a fabulous day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. Today, I have two videos that I want to share with you of African women speaking. They're speaking from different perspectives, but they're giving us a clear understanding of what has gone on and what is going on in Africa, what has gone on in the dividing of African people, and also the pillaging of African resources that's leaving the African people poor. They're living on the richest continent, but they're the poorest people. These women are speaking from their hearts, and there's nothing complicated about what they're saying. It's always good to listen to black women.
When I grew up in Africa, they used to tell us that, the Americans were the evolved Africans because they were evolved and we were the savage ones. They were evolved because they were more like westernized than we were. And they didn't like us and we were savage to them, and they would look down upon us. And also the image that we saw on TV was very negative. Most African American that we saw, they were, criminals and drug dealers and gangsters or prostitutes when it came for women image, or you had to be really a high level athlete or high level entertainer and then you were okay. But the great majority of the Africans here were not doing well. So they were teaching us not to try to identify with them. So they made it seem to us like it was very dangerous for us to come here and we will never be loved, nor will be welcome by our brothers here.
So there were two things there that I found interesting. She said that they told them that black Americans were evolved and that we were more like Westerners. Well, that's true because we didn't have a choice. Americans are desperate to believe that the story Roots was a made-up story, that it was just something in the mind of Alex Haley. But that story is real. All that comes down to us from our ancestors tells us that that was a real indoctrination. They weren't playing with those people. You're out of Africa, you're over Africa, and you're who we say you are, and you do what we tell you to do, and you think what we tell you to think. Now that was the real indoctrination that went on with the Africans who came to America in slave ships. The story of Kunta Kinte was real because Alex Haley was able to reconnect with his family in the Gambia. That was the real journey of African people in America. He lost half of his foot because he was insisting that his name was Kunta Kinte. He was trying to stay connected with who he really was despite where he was. But they beat him down. And there was a whole lot of beating down with those people because they wanted to keep their identity, but they were not allowed to. So my point being that the indoctrination against Africa was real. The next thing she said I found even more remarkable because she said they told them not to try to identify with black Americans. Now, you're in Africa. Black Americans came out of Africa, our ancestors did, but you're going to tell them not to identify with black Americans. I don't even know why they would tell them that. What difference would it make who they identify with? They don't tell people coming from England not to identify with white people that came from England. They don't tell people who come from France not to identify with people from France. Why would it be important for them to tell Africans that? Don't try to identify with those black Americans because they won't like you. White people will just routinely say that to black Americans. Africans don't like you. They've never been to Africa, don't know any African people, but they know for a fact that Africans don't like black Americans. So they have absorbed the propaganda too, and they pass it on. So they know that they're supposed to tell black Americans that Africans don't like you. But most of the propaganda against Africa was visual. In movies, Tarzan, you got a white man and his family in the jungle of Africa swinging from trees like monkeys. So there goes that monkey thing again. See, that's propaganda, that's indoctrination. And we don't ever explore it. So by the time we learn that they were the ones that procreated with those subhumans, not Africans, the fix is already in. They've already got the narrative going now. And then that most respected publication, National Geographic, all they did was present Africa in the most primitive way possible. It wasn't presented as culture. It was presented as primitive. And so it was either that or it was poverty, disease, war. That's what we got from Africa. And so the message is, these people are backwards. You don't want to be a part of that. Now that's what we got. So this is real propaganda that's going on. And we may never, Black Americans and Africans may never come to a level of understanding. And Africans can't get along with each other. And all of it is indoctrination from Europeans. But at least we can recognize what the problem is. Whether we ever get along or not, at least we should be able to recognize what the problem is. So here's the next voice, and she's talking about colonialism in Africa and the impact that colonialism has had on Africa. And that's what all of this has been about anyway. It's really been about going into Africa and taking over their resources.
As far as I'm concerned, since we met you people 500 years ago, look at us. We've given everything. You are still taking. It's true. I mean, where would the whole Western world be without Africa? Our cocoa, our timber, our gold, our diamonds, our platinum, our whatever. Everything you are is us. I am not saying it, it's a fact. And in return for all of this, what have we got? Nothing. Anti-personnel indoctrination against ourselves. If you go and cook your horrible diseases like AIDS, you say it is us. You brought us tuberculosis. We didn't have this big cough until white people came here. In exchange for Africa giving Europe 500 solid years of our people, I mean not Europe, the Western world, of our human beings to work your canes, to dig your gold, to take in gold itself, diamond, I mean fish, peanuts, palm oil, everything. In exchange for that, we have got nothing. Nothing. And you know it. Nothing. And you look upon, white folks look upon us like monkeys. It is true. It's in your literature. Hey, some of your best thinkers have said this about us. Have you heard of all these Germans? Have you heard?
Okay.
Yes. They said Lord Burton, people like that, they said we don't even have the brain of animals. That's what we've got from you people.
But don't you think that this is over now?
Over where? Is it over? Who said that AIDS came from the green monkey? Is it over? Is it over?
Well, if this is your impression, do you think that you can ever forgive us?
It's not a question of forgiveness. I have nothing against you. My point is that you did and you are doing for your survival what is necessary. We can't blame you for that. The fact that we didn't do enough for our own survival and we are still not doing enough for our survival, that is not your problem.
Okay, I can't improve on that. She said it all. I've played this video before, and I'll probably continue playing it. Maybe one day we will understand. It's all about other people trying to survive at our expense. Okay, that's all I gotta say. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you think about the video. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a great day.